Should be long enough, I think.
Yeah.
Let's just attach them closer.
The wires are a little short
Yeah.
there for reaching across the motor. Maybe you want to go slightly longer wire, but it looks like
we'll
it.
just try to attach them here.
Yeah. And then see these holes here, they'll line up with the space between the lamps. So see, these holes are phase coherent with the lamps. So each hole is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights. So you can see how there's 6 lights between every hole, and if you tie it across, if this one lines up with a space, that one will line up with a space. That hits the end here roughly, so your other end is going to end up, if you tie that, your other end is going to end up about here.
We're going to start.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, everybody, we'll start the ECE training. Please take your seats. Is this everybody?
Yeah, I think this is everyone for.
Perfect. So today we're mainly going to be going over. Sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah. So today we're mainly going to be going over the rules of this space, okay? As well as how to safely handle some of the more basic tools that you have in front of you, like the hand drill, the hot glue gun, and utility. All right. Your main objective today is to complete the 2 activities that's in each one of your bins. One involves making a 5-sided cube made of foam, and the other one just pretty much involving a joint between 2 pieces. Okay, nothing too complicated. All right. Once you finish these 2 activities, there's a QR code in each one of your bins that you have to scan. That will take you to one last quiz that you have to do. Okay? This quiz is same form as tier 1, same form as tier 2, unlimited tries, but you will have to get a perfect score. Alright? If you're seated with another person, make sure that if you complete one activity, the other person is doing the other one, and then swap. So each one of you has to do both activities. Okay? Now, we can start with the rules of this space. Make sure when you come here, you don't bring any food or drinks. Alright? Why is this so important? Because at some point in the term, there will be a lot of soldering, there will be a lot of woodwork. So that tells you there's a lot of fumes, there's a lot of dust in the air. Right? So obviously you want to be consuming any of that. Water is acceptable, of course, because we don't want you to dehydrate. However, do try to keep the water consumption to a minimum, obviously for the same reasons. Okay? The second thing to keep in mind, so always wear closed-toe shoes. Because in this facility, there's a lot of things that are pointy, are pretty sharp. If were to land on you, there's high chance you might get hurt. Now, lastly, probably the most important part is anything loose on you needs to be either removed or secured. So we're talking about hair, we're talking about necklaces, bracelets, right? If the laces in your hoodie, right? If your sleeves are too loose, make sure they're tucked away, right? This play is quite important because obviously when you start using the more powerful machines like the bandsaw, if you have anything loose on you and it gets caught in the machine, there's a high chance the machine will pull you into the machine, right? And obviously the machine is running, obviously the blade is live, and if it pulls you into the machine, there's a high chance that you're gonna get a severe injury, right? So please be always mindful to put anything away from you that is loose, okay? Now, you can always put your jackets on either side of the walls, just hooks there, and just make sure that your backpack's always underneath the table. So pretty much what we want from you is to have all the hallways in. Right? At some point there will be around 70 to 80 students here at the same time, and you have anything in the hallway, pretty much becomes a big group. Alright, so with that said, we can start talking about the tools that you're using today. So the first tool, is again fairly standard. Okay, this specifically is a pressure hand drill. So all that's telling you, the harder you press this trigger, the faster your child thinks. Okay. Now for this specific hand drill, also there's a button next to the trigger. Right. If you were to press the trigger and the button on the side together, now you'll notice that the trigger is locked in place. Okay? What this in theory allows you to do is to be constantly drilling non-stop. This is a completely useless feature. Alright, don't know who designed this, I don't know why it's in this drill, right? But any kind of drilling that you do, in all fairness, should only take around 5 seconds. Anything more than 5 seconds, it's likely that either the setup is wrong, the material is wrong, or you're using the wrong tool. Okay? Now, I'm only showing you this in case you triggered it by accident. If you want, I can show you again. All you have to do is press, and press a second. Yeah, there you go. Now it's in place. Okay. I'm only showing you this in case you trigger by accident. All you have to do is just press one more time. You heard the click, release, you're back to normal. All right. So once again, please try avoiding using this function. Okay. Now, like any other hand drill, obviously there's a button that goes left and right. Right. What this allows you to do is control the direction of your chuck. So if you look at your hand drill from your perspective, if my chuck is going clockwise, you're going to be drilling into the material. If my chuck is going counterclockwise, you're drilling away from the material. Alright? Try not so much to guide yourself with the arrows or the symbols. Depends on manufacturing, that always changes. But the universal thing that if my chuck goes clockwise, it's in, counterclockwise, you're out. That applies to every hand drill there is. Okay? Now, we mentioned the chuck a few times, and obviously that's where you put your drill bit. One note that I need to mention about the drill bit is that make sure you're only using the drill bit to make holes. Okay, a few students have tried to use the drill bit like a driving bit. So you have the drill bit, it's driving into the screw. Obviously at that point you're not really driving the screw, you're just making a hole into the screw. Alright, so just keep that in mind. Okay? Now, when you put in the drill bit, make sure you can always, before you put the drill bit in, you'll notice that you can turn the upper part of the chuck. That will either expand the teeth or secure the teeth closer. Right? This is pretty much your main mechanism for securing the drill bit. Okay? Now, on top of that, when you bring the drill bit, make sure only the smooth part is going in, and it's always as center as you can. Right? If you were to put it in an angle, there's a potential that as you use it, obviously there's momentum, you will start spinning, it will get loose, and because it's not properly secured, there's a chance it might fly off and hit somebody. Alright? Now, to properly use a hand drill, make sure you're always standing right up, hand in the trigger, hand in the shaft. Alright? These will give you control, this will give you equilibrium. Right? A lot of students like to be seated down, they start doing this. Alright, you should not be sitting down, you should not be holding it like a pistol. Because obviously it's not secure, you pretty much have control of it. Okay? Now, lastly, the most important part with any hand drill is to always make sure to unplug it whenever you put the tool down. Okay? Now, why is this so important? A lot of times, some students leave it on, it's plugged in. One class will ask you, hey, can I have a hand drill? What happens now? You're always going to most likely pass the hand drill by the trigger. Happens there, you just drill your friend's hand because you forgot to plug. So please always remind yourself to unplug your hand drill whenever you put the tool back. Okay? Now, whenever you're drilling anything, make sure you always use a sacrificial bore. Right, as the name it says, you can have 100, 1,000 holes here and you wouldn't care. The whole point is that this is scrap, and the main thing that you're trying to avoid is to have all these holes in your working bench. Right? Once your working bench has all these holes, trust me, it's really hard to use, or very inconvenient. All right? And the other thing to remember when drilling anything, your piece should always be secure. You can use clamps, you can use vices, depends on the orientation that you need your piece to be at. Okay? The main danger when not securing your piece is that sometimes the drill bit bites into the wood, and if it's not secure, we'll start rotating with the chuck, and then obviously when it builds up enough momentum, once again, it can go flying and can hit somebody. Okay? Now, for today, you will also be using a hook luger, so a more simpler tool, a little more standard. Obviously, all you have is just a trigger. Right? All the trigger does is pushes the loose stick forward. That's about it. Right? Now, the main difference between the hook luger and the hand drill is the one you plug this in. This is live. So that tells you whether you use it or not, whether you see it idling, it keeps getting warm, it keeps closing the bit. For those specific reasons, you always want to have some sort of drip pen. It can be paper, it can be wood, anything that you don't use, right? Just to catch all the excess glue because it's going to be constantly melting it. Right? Now, with that specific reason also, that's when you use this clip. What this clip allows you to do is to stand your whole glue and let go. Right? If you were to put in any position like this, for example, what happens now, all the glue travels backwards, it closes your gun, you cannot use it no more. So always remember, grip pen, and the glue. Standing right. Okay? Now, when it comes to safety in this tool, make sure you never grab the barrel. You should never be checking, oh, it's holding now, this is ready to go. Right? You never grab it. The barrel can go up to 300 degrees and the tip can go up to 400 degrees. You will get burned. Alright? If you need to check whether it's ready or not, all you have to do is press the trigger, glue's coming out, you know it's ready. Alright? There's never necessity to check. Alright? One thing to keep in mind, another thing a lot of students tend to forget is that let's say you have your hot glue gun and you put too much glue. Their first instinct is always to grab their hand and start removing the glue with your hand. It just came out of the nozzle, it's equally hot. Never use your flash to handle hot glue. Right? You can use ice cream sticks that we have, you can scrap wood, just please don't use your hands. Right? Now, for this specific tool, it does take around 3 to 5 minutes to heat up. So if you're trying to save time in your activities, I highly suggest you to just pre-plug it, let it heat up, just make sure you have a drip pen and you'll be good. Okay? Now, lastly, more basic tool, utility knife. Nothing too complicated about this. The main thing to remember is to always extract as much of the thickness of your material. Okay, being honest, okay? Just please don't do this. Right? This is not a weapon, it's not a sword. You're not fighting with this. It's very sharp. Right? So what's the danger with extracting the whole blade? If you put enough pressure, the blade bends. There's a high chance it's going to snap, and once again, you have a piece of metal, very sharp, flying across the room uncontrolled. You can hit anybody. Imagine this lands in your eye. You're going to be pretty severely hurt. Okay? So keep that in mind. Now, the other thing is always remind yourself, you use a utility knife, you're always using a cutting mat. The main purpose of it is obviously to prevent the blade from getting dull. Okay? And when you're using the cuts, when you're doing your cuts, make sure you're always pointing away from your body. Okay? Away like this, away from your body. Your hand should never be in the way of the stroke, and obviously your body should never be in the way. Okay? Now, the last part, the most important thing to remember when using a utility knife, always be sure to retract your blade, please. The engineers are very busy, they let go. Everything is in a rush, everything is due yesterday. Right? So you're forgetting, you have 20 things to do, you leave it on, what happens now? You're trying to grab something very quickly, that's it. So it takes for you to get caught, you must admit it. These are very sharp. Right? It only takes you half a second to retract your blade. Okay? So with that said, you can start with your activities. If you have any questions, do let me know. If you are missing anything, also let me know. Yeah. Before that, please, all of you grab a pair of safety glasses at the entrance.
You're going to start with this?
Oh, you can start with this. Yeah, I'll find another table maybe.
Or you can use this table. Like there's two activities, right? So there's, you cut out a square of
Yes.
this and the hot melt glue, and then there's also the drill, right?
Yes.
So there's two different activities.
Sure, I'll do this one first.
So we can each do one activity and then swap.
Solder this? I think if we put this.
Oh, yeah, you don't need to solder. That's fine. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
So just, you can use either end.
So this side goes up, I assume.
Yeah. So this, but remember, it's always got to go by the direction of the arrows, right? So you can see the little arrows here. There's little arrows pointing which way the signal goes. So that's the female end, so that's the start. So you can use either this one, or if you use this one, you got to connect to this end here. Solder wires and connect to this end. So it's got to go this way or that way. That's good. And then
Before you start, please grab yourself a pair of safety glasses.
sure.
No, that one's fine. That one's fine.
Not here, but we're printing some more, so the laser cut is running right now, I believe. Huh?
Like an hour or two?
An hour and 6 minutes, but it started a while ago. Oh, Tony, Kai, I was thinking I want to teach the students O-Drive a little bit. Have you ever done O-Drive before? Three-phase motor control? I was thinking of maybe giving them O-Drive. So I was thinking for like tomorrow, for Lab 2, I want to teach them text, fonts.
Aren't they doing the demonstration for Lab 1 tomorrow?
Yeah, well, there's two things that are happening tomorrow. One is they're going to show their cameras, and two, they're going to start on their font display. So I want to, maybe you can give them a quick lesson on fonts and how to display letters on the swim, right?
Okay.
And then, so the idea is to use the motor as an odometer of sorts to measure how far along it is. When you turn it one way, it goes positive. You see the voltage goes up and it fluctuates, it's pulsating. And when you go the other way, it goes negative and pulsates. So I want them to infer distance from what's coming out of the motor. So the simplest part is just to display the text at a constant speed and move the swim at a constant speed. And then the next step is to get the fonts to go according to the speed of movement of the swim stick. So maybe you've done that before, with the fonts.
No, we didn't do that last year.
Okay. Have you done fonts before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so like they can either use the font library or they can just do it manually. Like for Hello World, to create the letter H, you just turn on all the lights and then turn on some in the middle to create and then turn them all on again. You can construct the letters.
So you want that to be done for tomorrow?
Yeah, just help them get started. What I want to do is point them on their way tomorrow. So some of them will have it already done. The keeners, will have it already done. Some of the others will be wondering how to do it, and they might need a little hand holding.
Right now I don't even have a lab kit.
So they'll come in tomorrow. Should I get you a lab kit, or do you want to just, when you come in, maybe you can just point them in the right direction, sort of?
I can point them, sure.
Like just kind of help them get started. How to run Arduino, how to get fonts, either use font library or generate the fonts from first principles. Yeah.
We are doing the tutorial tomorrow, right? And they do Lab 1 presentations tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow what's happening is they're going to show their cameras, their pinhole cameras,
Lab 1.
and we're also going to get moving on Lab 2 tomorrow.
They're not going to be done tomorrow.
We'll get them as far as they can and we'll help them along. Some of them will actually come in with Lab 2 finished.
What I mean is,
Right.
do we have the Lab 2 done on tutorial 2? So,
Say again?
So we have tutorial 1, which was last week. Now
Yeah.
we have Lab 2.
That's correct.
Now next week we have tutorial 2.
Correct.
Which is their deadline.
Yes.
So they're not presenting it tomorrow.
Well, let them present as much as they can.
People are they're stressed out because they won't be able to finish. That's why.
Okay, but let them get as far as they can and we'll help them, right?
Right, but there's no specific deadline for tomorrow to finish full Lab 2, is what I'm trying to say. So they can finish when they can.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to connect the board to my computer,
Yeah.
and then it's not like if I it's not reading at all. Like
Oh.
even if I go to device manager and reconnect the board.
Yeah. Can you put D messages?
Sorry, what?
D messages to see if there's a or LS USB?
What do you want me to do?
Like, is it connected? Like, are you
No.
getting any? Are you getting any D message or LS USB or anything like that?
Not that I can see. Like the problem is that it's not even getting detected on like a device level. Like
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know. Like it's clearly connected because it's being powered.
It's getting power, but is it getting communication? So, is this cable a fully connected USB cable, or is this only a charging cable? Some USB cables are only for charging, and they only connect the power lines. And other USB cables have data connections in them. Do you know if this is US? Can you verify this USB cable works? Can you test it with another device to confirm that the cable's
I
good?
don't have a device that uses micro USB.
Okay, so my advice
This
is to.
cable is actually from myhal staff.
Okay, so my advice is to test this cable and see if it works. Give it to another student who's got the same setup. Give it to another student who has a working setup and see if the cable works with their setup.
Okay.
Download this one.
Yeah, so where is the professor here? Okay, so I think we should. So that's my
That is great.
good.
Very nice. This point is I will need him to take it out so that he can start that.
Cool.
exercise.
All right. So should I just unscrew it or should I give it to him? I guess.
He's younger. He has more strength.
Okay, and then I got to do the cube, right?
Yes.
Or almost was that side.
And oh, is there another piece of foam?
Let me get it. There you go.
Okay, cool, great.
The handle is underneath the table just because it can get in the way of the.
Oh, yeah, like all of together.
Yeah,
and then-
no, the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing like this, right?
No. Like this.
Oh, like
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
this
yeah.
way. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
just
yeah.
'cause you
so
see how it's- yeah.
It will block me things.
这个哪喜欢？跟这个是玩儿对，这是需要什么手感的超感？对，你下个二追能就可以。就你要有一个或者拍一个都行。对，我用的是毛点。那个线不符合，你记一下。你在可能是你去用的时候我带你电脑。Head out in like 50 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Or like less. Then we can talk about lab stuff and like we can announce for people to bring their cameras tonight.
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
yeah.
How can I split this apart?
Oh, so you heat it up with a soldering iron. You get the soldering iron,
Yeah.
heat up the solder. Have you done the soldering yet? Have you done soldering before?
Yes, but like a long time ago.
Okay, and you've completed the safety training for the soldering,
Yeah.
I guess? Yeah. So set up your soldering station and I'll show you how to do it. Do you got it set up? Do you got the iron set up? Yeah, so just get it all set up.
Unfortunately, that was a few I don't know how to run them. Hi. Oh, yeah, that's completely fine. Pretty much done. I just remember to scan for the quiz. Sorry, I just need to.
All right.
You might have to wait.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
Yes. Yeah, perfectly fine.
Let's see, is the iron on there?
Yeah, I just
And it's around, let's see, what's the temperature? You set it to, looks like it's around, what is that there? What temperature is that? Oh, it's times 10, right?
yeah.
It's Fahrenheit times 10. Okay, so now, now let me see here. What you want to do is you want to split this apart there, let's say. So, is that iron tip pretty good? It's still tinned a little bit. So what you want to do is sort of heat this up a little bit there. And then we should bring this close to there and now you're going to want to do is heat that up a little bit there. Is the iron hot? Yeah, do you got a little piece of solder we can test it with to see if it's hot enough? Do you got a little scrap of solder somewhere? Because then we could test it. Oh, there might be some here. Excellent. Yeah, that's perfect. So now let's just first see if it's hot enough to melt that. Just barely. Maybe we'll go a little higher there. That's about 700, I guess, maybe. 750, is it? Now, it seems like it's the iron's having a little bit of trouble melting that solder, but seems like it's okay. Seems like it's... Is that really hot? It's not getting much heat transfer there. It's having a little bit of... There we go. Now, it's getting it loose there, so we can melt it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the backing off. So you want to peel the backing off a little bit. You want to keep the double-sided tape for later. Don't use it right away until you're sure you want to mount it. What I'm going to do is peel the backing off. And then, do we have... Let's see, we're going to want to separate it about here. Do we got a... There's still a utility knife over here somewhere, I believe. in, where's that knife? In here somewhere, right? Yeah, there's one right here, an Olfa knife. So if you take a scrap like that and okay, and then we're going to take this apart here. Only project the knife as far as you need to. Don't have the blade sticking out too far. And then when you're finished with it, always retract the blade so that if somebody picks it up off the table, they don't cut themselves. And then now we're going to pick away at that a little bit and try and free it up. There you go. Now, I got this off of here. See how I've kind of freed it up a little bit there? And then get this off of here. A little bit more. Okay, now you can see I've opened it up just a little bit there, right? Okay, so now that it's opened up, I should be able to heat that up and take it apart. So we should now be able to pull that apart. Now, I don't know if they'll mind if we use one of these. See if we can pin this down here. It'll just be a little bit easier to hold on to, and that's fairly gentle. You don't want to put it too tight. Now let me see if we can get in here.
Oh, do you need a chair?
Nope. It's better not to be in a chair when you're trying to do fine work because it restricts your movement. Now, what I'm trying to do is simply heat these up, and I'll get to a point where they'll come apart easily. So you can see it's kind of coming apart now, and then what you want to do is clean up the ends just a little bit. Which end are you going to use? So you probably use both ends, but if you want to use this end, you're going to want to solder 3 wires to it and stick it in your breadboard.
I feel like the
This will probably be the better end to use because you can solder 3 wires. But what you want to do is just clean up the ends on here so there's no stray pieces in case you do decide to also use this end. So I'll just remove excess from here. So what I'll do, where can I put that? You want this handy so that you can get to it easily. This is kind of in the way here, but now you want to get here and take any excess material away. There you go. You could even, there's one of these here too, right? So you could go on this, and is that working? Maybe it doesn't work. There it is. Now you can heat that up here. Heat this up just a little. And it'll pop it away, right? And then that, I think that's pretty, this is the end you're not using anyway, but you just want to leave it in good shape in case you do decide to use it. There's a little bit more on there too. And then there it is. Good. So now we've got this pretty cleaned up. This is pretty cleaned up now.
Yeah.
And but I would say that's the end you're going to want to use, is this end here. So what you'll want to do, you see that's the no, hang on a second. No, yeah, you maybe want to use this end here because this is the male end. Okay, so this is the input. So you know the direction.
We have the male end, so we need a female end.
Okay, so you can use either end. If you use this end, just stick your wires in here.
Yeah.
If you use this end, solder 3 wires to here and stick the wires in your breadboard.
Oh, I see.
Either way is fine.
Hi, Professor. If you don't mind me asking, I think you were speaking about like to everybody during UtraHacks the other day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I was just wondering if this course is going to be offered next year because it seems like very interesting.
I probably will offer it next year. I believe I will offer it next year. What year are you in now?
Second year.
Second year. So if you take it next year, you'll be in third year, I guess, and that's not a bad year to take it in. You could take it in third year. That's pretty good, you know? So it's not bad. So you're in, what are you in?
Second year.